Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sofia Rabiela, and I am a jazz bassist.
My name is Leah Racine. I'm a freshman at Michigan State, and I play jazz trombone.
So collectively, we have started the Women in Jazz initiative here at Michigan State, and our whole proposition and basis of our program is to encourage young women to take hold of their future as musicians. And as we begin, I'd like to pose this question to all of you. When you think of jazz musicians, who do you think of?
For a lot of people, some of the top names that come to mind are John Coltrane, Miles Davis, and currently Wynton Marsalis and the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra.
But if you look at that entire orchestra and you look at the list that we just gave you, where are the women?
The problem is not that women are not there. The problem is that women are in the background, which is where we are coming in. Our program is designed to bring women out of the background and into the foreground with men, alongside men, and trying to encourage young women that they do have a future in music and encourage them to be musicians by being their role models.
So if I pose to you now, when you think of women jazz musicians, I would be able to tell you that I think of Mary Lou Williams, Melba Liston, Jerry Allen. And it's not just knowing their names, it's knowing the experience of being a woman jazz musician and the fact that all of the women in the jazz program here can attest to showing up to their performances with their instruments strapped on their back and still being asked, are you gonna be our singer for tonight? And for any woman to receive a compliment from their male counterparts to be tagged with some sort of compliment to their appearance as well.
So our first step, we gotta figure out how we're going to tackle this problem. We need to know what the problem is. We researched a number of different schools, all of which are the top jazz programs in the country. Those who participated at the Jazz at Lincoln Center Jazz Rudin jazz competition in the past month. These are some of the top programs who were there: Michigan State University, Indiana University, and University of North Texas. And as you can see, the gender gap and the percentage of women in each organization spans across the board regardless of program size. And the issue isn't just in the students. If you look at the jazz faculty at each one of these three programs, Michigan State and Indiana University both have faculties made up of all men. University of North Texas has 3 women on their full-time faculty staff out of 17. There are 2 organizations who are making an effort towards bridging this gap and encouraging women. They are the Diva Jazz Orchestra and the Woodshed Jazz Orchestra, and we want your help to help us join them so that we can encourage these young women.
Now, how are we going to do this? Our plan currently is to visit 4 Lansing schools, 2 elementary schools, 1 middle school, and 1 high school to provide workshops and give show face for women in jazz and letting them know that we are here and there are women. And so we want to provide a presentation that goes through women in jazz history and women that are doing it now. Now, behind me, I have what we consider a very lean budget for our campaign and our tour that we're planning on doing. And what's special about our budget is that all the cost is here, and we want it to be at no cost to the schools. Because as one of our previous presenters mentioned, arts funding is not in abundance.
Fortunately, Michigan State Jazz Program has recognized the value in promoting women, and they have agreed to support us with $780, which means that if we can get your support for $2,500, we will fully meet our budget, and we will be able to encourage these women. Already, we've had a positive response on social media with people volunteering to donate time and money, so we're looking to expand even bigger and possibly sponsor scholarships and lessons and anything else we can do to encourage these women.
Now, before we say goodbye, I'd like to leave you all with a paraphrase quote from one of our sponsors and my personal professor, Mr. Rodney Whitaker. And that quote says that after all this time, we've only ever heard the story of men in jazz because men are the only ones known for playing jazz. And in 2020, it's no excuse to not be in support of and to not be in demand of the rest of the story.
Thank you very much.
So have you given any thoughts as to how you might expand this beyond the greater Lansing area and just bring it to more schools and regions across the country?
Yeah, so we are starting with the Lansing area just so we can kind of get the basis of like what the program is about and how the kids are responding to it within our immediate area. And in the future, we would like to branch out with the other schools that we have mentioned in one of the 10 schools that did go to the Jack Rudin competition and having them start their own branches of it. But for MSU specifically, after this year, I would personally like to expand to the Detroit area and other areas around Michigan that are feasible within the school year.
Does your group have a name?
We are just the Women in Jazz Initiative. I think that it gives us the sense of professionalism without losing any of its integrity.
Yeah, I'm just curious. There's other grants and things available. Have you identified other groups doing this in other cities, perhaps, or initiatives for women in jazz?
As we mentioned earlier, there are organizations like the Diva Jazz Orchestra with artists like Tanya Darby, who was here last semester, and they are based in New York, but they do tour nationally and internationally. So obviously we're just starting small in the local area, but we're hoping to branch out and kind of be at the same level and be able to tour and reach more people than we can right now.
You mentioned some of your professors and mentors that you're working with to develop the project. Have you reached out further into the landscape of Michigan? For instance, in Detroit, Marion Hayden is an absolute powerhouse. So I'm happy to even connect you with some of the female jazz artists that I know, but I'm just curious about their role of mentorship in your project because they are stellar.
Yeah, so we have been in contact with our professor, Rodney Whitaker, because since he is one of our sponsors, he makes it a point to say, how can we help within the MSU community? He makes it a point to kind of engage with us and see what woman MSU FCU artists do we want to bring in this year. And he, like Marion Hayden, and he just has all the connections. We're very fortunate to have the professors that we do.
Talk to me later.
Yeah.
I like the brand name actually because it's instantly gettable. Like to any layperson, they totally get what it is. Can you talk a little bit, if in the perfect world scenario, what happens after you graduate, and what happens with this program?
I'm not going to let it die, and I'm going to be advocating for this my entire life. I will come back and work with the women that come in, and I want, with my career as a musician, I want a career in advocacy. And you might think that maybe after I graduate it's gonna die, but it's not.
We're out of time.